It had been 6 long months since I last stepped foot in the office. After my maternity leave, I wasn't sure what to expect. My colleagues and the work environment had been a huge part of my life, but everything seemed to have changed. I walked into the building, carrying my coffee cup in one hand, feeling the nervous excitement that only a return to work after a long break can bring. But as I stepped into the office, something felt off. There was a strange stillness in the air, and a few unfamiliar faces made the place feel like a different world. I made my way toward my desk, but as I approached, I saw someone else sitting there. My desk, the one I'd spent years working at, was now occupied by a young woman I didn't recognize. Her presence hit me like a ton of bricks. I had been the team manager before leaving, but now, this stranger was sitting at my desk as though it belonged to her. My heart raced as I stood frozen, wondering how everything could have changed so dramatically in just 6 months. Was I no longer needed? Did they replace me while I was gone? Or was there some mistake? The woman looked up at me as I stood there, frozen in disbelief. "Can I help you?" she asked with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I struggled to maintain my composure. "I'm Grace," I said slowly, trying to sound calm despite the storm brewing inside me. "I was the manager before I went on leave. I think you're sitting at my desk." The words felt strange, like I was asserting something that didn't feel real. Her smile didn't falter. "Oh, I'm Amanda," she replied. "I'm just filling in for the manager position." There was an arrogance in her tone that made my blood boil. Filling in for the manager? For my position? I felt a knot form in my stomach. "I don't think you understand," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm back now, and I intend to return to my role." Amanda simply raised an eyebrow, as if I were making some irrelevant point. She didn't move or seem to care about the history I had with the company. Instead, she sat back, acting as though my presence didn't matter. My heart raced with confusion and anger. How had this happened? How could someone just replace me so easily? It didn't make sense. Amanda's indifference only deepened the pit of uncertainty in my stomach. I couldn't understand why no one else was speaking up. Where were my colleagues? Where was Frank, my trusted coworker? Had everyone just accepted Amanda as the new manager, as though my months of hard work didn't matter anymore? I took a deep breath, trying to calm my racing thoughts. "Amanda, I think you need to understand something," I said, my voice shaking slightly despite my best efforts to sound confident. "I've worked here for years, and I was the manager before I left. I plan on taking that position back. This is my desk, and I don't intend to give it up without a fight." She looked at me with an unreadable expression. "Well, Grace," she said slowly, "I don't know how things worked when you were here, but I'm the one in charge now. So if you want your old job back, you're going to have to figure out how to fit in around here." My jaw clenched. I had been replaced while I was gone, and now Amanda was making it clear that she had no intention of letting me reclaim what was mine. As I stood there, trying to process Amanda's words, I realized something else. Something far more unsettling. The entire office had gone silent. My colleagues, people I had trusted, were watching us. Not a single one of them spoke. They weren't even pretending to work. They were all just observing. The quietness in the room was suffocating. My mind raced as I wondered what had been going on in my absence. Had Amanda just walked in and taken over, or was there something more sinister at play? Why had no one spoken up for me? I looked at Frank across the room, hoping he would step in, but he avoided my gaze, his eyes shifting nervously as though he were afraid to get involved. I felt a sinking feeling in my stomach, as though the foundation of everything I knew at work was crumbling. No one seemed to care about my return. No one seemed to care that I had been here long before Amanda, or that I had earned my position. My thoughts were interrupted by Amanda's voice. "So, what's it gonna be, Grace?" she asked coolly. You're either going to accept that I'm your boss now, or we can make things more difficult." The words Amanda spoke hung in the air, thick with an unspoken challenge. My mind raced as I tried to make sense of everything. This wasn't just about a desk or a title. This was about power. Amanda wasn't just asserting herself as the new manager. She was trying to erase me, to push me out of a space I had spent years building. I couldn't let that happen. But how could I fight back? What was my next move? I was suddenly acutely aware of every eye in the office on me. It felt like everyone was waiting for me to back down, for me to accept my place, now that I had returned from maternity leave. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just a job. It was a reflection of my worth, my identity. And Amanda wasn't just trying to steal my position. She was undermining everything I had worked for. I couldn't let that stand. "I'm not going anywhere," I said through gritted teeth, my voice low but firm. Amanda seemed unfazed by my words, almost as if she'd anticipated my resistance. "We'll see about that," she said, her tone dismissive. "But don't think for a second that you're going to waltz in here and take back what's mine." Later that day, I tried to gather my thoughts in my office. I couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger was going on behind the scenes. This wasn't just about Amanda taking over my desk. It felt like a strategic move, a well-orchestrated play to push me out. But by whom? And why? I thought back to the months leading up to my leave. There had been whispers about restructuring, rumors about a change in leadership, but nothing concrete. I had always assumed that when I returned, things would return to normal. But it seemed I had been wrong. I needed answers, and I needed them fast. What had happened in my absence? Who had made the decision to hire Amanda? And most importantly, who was supporting her in this power grab? I couldn't fight this battle alone. I needed someone on my side. That's when I thought of Frank. He had always been a reliable ally in the past. Maybe he knew something I didn't. I quickly texted him, asking if we could talk. I needed to understand what was really going on, and how Amanda had managed to take control so quickly. Frank met me after hours in a quiet corner of the office. His face was tense, and I could tell he was reluctant to get involved. "I don't want to get into this, Grace," he said quietly, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. "This whole situation is messy. Amanda has been playing the game better than anyone else." "What do you mean, playing the game?" I asked, my frustration mounting. Frank sighed and lowered his voice. "She's been cozying up to the higher-ups. She's been going to lunch with Andrew, the CEO, practically every week. They've been discussing things behind closed doors. It's obvious she's trying to get his attention, to make herself indispensable to him." My stomach turned. Andrew? The CEO? If Amanda had gained his favor, I was in serious trouble. But why was Frank telling me this now? "So, you're saying she's manipulating him?" I asked, feeling a mixture of anger and disbelief. Frank nodded, his face grim. "It's worse than that. She's been spreading rumors about you, Grace, saying you wouldn't be able to handle the pressure when you came back, that you wouldn't be able to keep up." My heart sank. Amanda had been planning this all along, and I hadn't even seen it coming. Everything I had worked for seemed to be unraveling in front of me. But I wasn't going to let Amanda or anyone else take that from me. I had to take action. "I'm going to confront Andrew," I said, my voice steady with resolve. Frank looked at me, wide-eyed. "Are you sure? He's not someone you can easily confront. He's been very impressed by Amanda." I took a deep breath. I don't care. If she's been lying about me, then I need to set the record straight. Frank seemed hesitant, but he didn't stop me. "I'll back you up, Grace, but be careful. Amanda is dangerous when she feels threatened. If she has Andrew on her side, it could be an uphill battle." I nodded. "I'm prepared for that. I've fought for everything I've earned, and I'm not going to let her take it away from me without a fight. The decision was made. I would confront Amanda, confront Andrew, and I would fight for my place in this company, no matter what it took. The next day, I walked into Andrew's office with a newfound sense of determination. My heart pounded in my chest, but I wasn't about to let fear dictate my actions. Andrew looked up from his desk when I entered, his expression unreadable. "Grace," he said, his voice neutral. "What's this about?" I took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Andrew, I need to talk to you about Amanda. She's been spreading lies about me, undermining my position, and I can't sit back and let that happen." Andrew's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, I thought he might dismiss me, just like Amanda had. But then, he spoke, his tone colder than I expected. "I'm aware of the situation," he said. "Amanda's been doing a great job, Grace. You've been gone for 6 months. Things have changed. The company needs people who can step up when needed, and Amanda has done that." My stomach turned as I realized what was happening. Amanda had already worked her way into Andrew's good graces, but I wasn't ready to give up just yet. As the conversation with Andrew continued, I could feel myself losing ground. He wasn't listening to me, not really. It was as if he had already made up his mind about Amanda. My anger flared. "Andrew, don't you see what's happening here?" I said, my voice rising. "Amanda is manipulating you. She's been using your trust to push me out, and you're letting her." For the first time during the meeting, Andrew's expression flickered with uncertainty. "Grace," he said slowly, "I'm not sure what you're implying here, but I'm not going to let personal drama affect the business. Amanda is the future of this company, and I think it's time you understand that." The words stung like a slap to the face, but I wasn't done yet. "I've worked here for years, Andrew. I deserve more than this. I deserve respect, and I won't let Amanda take everything I've worked for without a fight." For a moment, there was silence. Then Andrew spoke, his voice cold and final. "You've been given your chance, Grace, but Amanda is the one who's proven herself. I suggest you accept that and move on." My world crashed around me as Andrew's words sank in. Everything I had fought for, everything I had worked for, seemed to be slipping through my fingers. But as I looked across the room at Amanda's smug face, I knew one thing. I wasn't going down without a fight. I would prove that I belonged here. I would reclaim my place, even if it meant taking down Amanda in the process. And so, the final showdown began.